do a recital version of the Ballad of Justice Road. Due to my disabled jaw on my speech, I'm going to have to use a microphone for this. Put my glasses on so I don't want you see the bags under my eyes. The Ballad of Justice Road. Stumbled down 1,000 miles of beaten track, coyotes singing me lullabies, you ain't going back. Carved my will and testament onto a no-entry sign. If I make it into heaven, it'll be by luck more than design. I met a mute prospector by a salted up well. I said, if you could speak, what stories would you tell? He pulled the silver locket out and slipped apart the clasp. A picture of a heart inside, inscribed, please don't ask. I pulled my tattooed shirt off and showed him my tattoos. One said here to stay, the other born to lose. He nodded understandingly and then clutched his chest, handed me his locket and drew his final breath. I buried him with dignity and muttered a swift prayer. Only the wind was listening, and it sure didn't care. I hauled my backpack on and pulled high my collar, deciding left or right on a toss of my last dollar. I camped that night at Oxbow Creek. On the breeze I heard the pious speak and young girls shriek. Horses' hooves awoke me, and I squinted in the sun. Found myself staring down the barrel of a gun. A cold voice said, well, what have we got here? Maybe a lookout for the rustlers of my steer. I said, I want no trouble, I'm just passing through. He laughed, afraid not, son, we've got plans for you. They pulled me into town near an hour away, took me to the courthouse and told the judge what to say. I pleaded my innocence, but they threw me in a cell, told me in the morning they'd be sending me to hell. Just before sunset, there came a visitor, saying to the jailer, I've brought food for the prisoner. Up to the bars came a maid so fair to see. She smiled, I've brought you sustenance in lieu of clemency. She sat on a stool, and as I ate, we talked. What's your name, she asked, and how far have you walked? I said, pretty miss, please don't think me impolite, but it's plain to see something in your town ain't right. She said, the tall T-boys say they caught you fair and square, helping steal the cattle, going missing everywhere. I told her they were lying, but she shook her head. Big Sam's my fiancé, and I must trust what he said. I said, change the subject. Tell me about you. You look like an angel amongst this Satan-spawned crew. She said, my name is Jenny, and I'm coming up to 18. Sam found me when I was 6, but it's picking my folks' bones clean. He brought me here, and I grew up on his ranch. If it hadn't have been for him, I surely wouldn't have stood a chance. So I try to give goodness back each and every day. I study my Bible, and for your soul I'll pray. I smiled. Amongst the cacti, you are the sweetest rose. She blushed. You must not say such things, for I am betrothed. I said, what can they do to me? And she burst into laughter. I hope the cherub sang so sweet in the hereafter. Tell me about Sam, I inquired. I only met him once, and he left a lot to be desired. Her jaw went stern, but only for a pause. He's an important man, and he helps us keep the laws. He took the BT over when the owner died. They found him one night with a dagger in his side. Sam chased the suspect into the ground. He told us they drew first on him, so he shot them down. It was 1 year later that he found me. Under his rule, this town has come into great prosperity. Some of his acquaintances I don't care much for, but when we're married he'll soften. Of that I am sure. I wish my ma and pa. Her voice trailed off. A lonesome tear descended down her cheek, so soft. You wish they could see you grow and be wed. She nodded, and in a whisper, yes, she said. I must go, for the hour's getting late. I'm sure it doesn't help, but I'm sorry for your fate. She rose to go, but suddenly her eyes stared hard down. What's that I see shining? She asked with a frown. I reached my hand into my breast pocket and pulled out the prospector's locket. Where did you get that? She asked in a hushed tone. I said, from an old man who for a brief time I'd known. He died nigh 2 days ago, and I buried him with respect. He'd given me this locket, perhaps so I'd not forget. I never knew his name because he could not speak. I nodded, and down her graceful face a stream of tears did streak. Through quivering lips she asked, if you please. I passed it through the bars to her, and she opened it with ease. She reached inside and pulled the hard picture away, and showed me an inscription. Jenny, did it say. I'm so sorry, Jenny, I said, and then how to quickly shuddered. I could see her memory becoming uncluttered. Your father, I asked, and she did not slow. She arose and said, forgive me, I must go. Maybe an hour later, the jail door burst asunder. Big Sam rolled in, his eyes full of shock and wonder. A bullet hole bled justice in the center of his chest. He gasped the letter J out and fell dead on the sheriff's desk. It was right before sunrise the jailer came for me. I was expecting to take a drop, but instead he set me free. He said, I've got the story and a false charge won't stick. But if you want some advice, get out of town quick. As I got my papers, the mayor strode into the jail. He said, I've got Jenny's statement, and it's really quite a tale. It seems a rustler burst into her room, meaning to do her harm, and Big Sam came a-running at the sound of her alarm. Jenny told me Sam went for his gun first, but the rustler was a quicker draw, and Sam, he came off worst. Sam caught a bullet, as Jenny called his name. Looks like it was a pocket pistol, but they'll kill you just the same. They got a posse up and hightailed out of town. Well, I'm no fortune teller, but I doubt the rustler will be found. Jenny kindly offered me the loan of her horse. I asked what his name was. She smiled, no remorse. I doffed my hat and said, tonight we'll all sleep easy. She smiled, including Papa too, for I know for sure he sees me. I asked, will you stay here? Not for long, she said. Evil is a disease, dormant but never dead. I said, I think I'll rest up 3 towns away for a while. I felt my spirits surge as she stroked her hair and smiled. She said, I hear the air is sweeter there, and I'd sure like to breathe it. My heart's been a prisoner